It was a nice event last week. I walked in and somebody was like, "Hey, do you want a drink?" And it was like 4 o'clock.
See if what I had matched up to you.
Right. They never fail to say they print it off. They
Yeah.
something and then they print it off again.
And I go, hey, Dan.
Yeah.
Yeah, if this was a sports conference right now, you guys would give us your injury report. Is there anybody feeling under the weather driving a snowplow today?
No? Yeah.
I can give you the injury report. It's the Dallas Cowboys. Okay.
And good morning from the WIBW Digital News Center. I'm Melissa Bruner as we are awaiting the monthly news conference from the City of Topeka Mayor Mike Padilla and City Manager Robert Perez. They have entered the room where they have these events at the city's Holiday Building, and they're just waiting here another 30 seconds or so before they get started. They're expected to address a variety of issues as we head into the Thanksgiving holiday and the winter months. There are a lot of things that have been on the mayor and city manager's minds. Of course, winter weather preparations, various street projects. Also, they did announce the new Topeka police chief. And so Chris Vallejo from Austin, Texas.
Today, getting ready for the holidays.
Will be starting in January, and here's Mayor Padilla.
Subject that we've been working with, and I know is in the news a lot, and that is the governing body and city managers' collaboration on bringing a new chief of police to Topeka, Kansas. So I'll let city manager speak to that.
Thank you, Mayor. So as mentioned by the mayor, we did this past week announce Chris Vallejo, previously of Austin Police Department, as our next police chief. Chris is supposed to start with us the week of January 20th. As the mayor mentioned, I think we had a very collaborative process, not only between the governing body and myself and the teams, but also with the community. We had a pretty expansive interview process, which included numerous panels. There was a law enforcement panel, a community panel, one of our public health and safety committee, along with the mayor, made up another panel, and then yeah, so it was a pretty extensive process. At the end, we had two very well-qualified finalists who did make it a difficult decision, but nonetheless, we went with Chris. As mentioned, Chris is formerly of the Austin Police Department, where he spent 30 years making it to, or promoting to the rank of commander. During his time with APD, Chris did work on expansive recruitment strategies. He also pioneered the use of data and creation of a chief data officer aimed at integrating public or community-based policing initiatives, which, based upon feedback that we heard from the community, that's definitely something that we wanted to focus on with TPD and the law enforcement community moving forward. So as mentioned, Chris is slated to start the week of January 20th, and in between now and then, he'll be visiting Topeka with his wife to look at homes and to start integrating with our stakeholders. So we're looking forward to Chris starting in the new year.
If I may interject, and city manager spoke to that, is that he's done this with other efforts within the city, and that is to really engage the public to get their input on the decisions that will eventually land on his desk or with the governing body. But I think it's notable that I think he's extremely receptive to the idea that the community has an opportunity to give its opinions and listen to everybody when they are wanting to make sure that we don't make our decisions in a vacuum. So I appreciate the efforts by the city manager on that. And really, I know, talking with our new chief-to-be, a lot of the things that he has on his mind to begin with is to get to know this community as much as he can. So once he is officially in office, I encourage people who want to meet him to reach out to the city manager and the chief and take the time to listen to him, visit with him, get to know him. It's like anybody coming into a new job, into a new location. There's always some adjustments. I think what we need to do as a community is to give every bit of support that we can and give the new chief time to learn about us as much as he can and be comfortable with the decisions that he will continue to make for the department and leading us forward. So again, I think it was a good process. The governing body feels very comfortable that we heard all parties who are going to be affected by this appointment. Thank you, Robert.
Thank you, Mayor.
Another thing that has happened in the news, and I know that city manager has taken note of it, and is recent shootings that we've had in Topeka. There's always that opportunity. We never know when it's going to happen. There's never a good time. People will say sometimes, well, it's during the holidays. It makes no difference. When everybody suffers from violence in our community, it's something that we take very seriously. We give as much attention to that as anything else, and probably more so, how it affects those families who are directly hurt and affected by these shootings and activities. So I think City Manager wanted to kind of speak to that a bit as well.
Yes, sir. I definitely want to extend more heartfelt condolences to those families who have been affected. I know particularly as we're coming around the holidays, I know it's probably adds an additional layer of hurt to those losses. So again, just wanted to extend my condolences to the families. To those families and to the rest of the community, I do also want to assure you that the men and women of our Topeka Police Department are working around the clock to not only solve these, I guess, these crimes, but to ensure that we remain safe. So again, I just want to say thank you to the men and women of our police department. I would encourage anybody going back to these recent crimes. I would encourage anybody who has any information on these items to email our detectives at telltpd@topeka.org. You will remain anonymous, and just want to let you know that there's an avenue for anybody who may have information on these crimes or any others in the community.
Yeah, I'll tell Topeka PD is a good route, as well as Crime Stoppers. I know a lot of times people are a little uncomfortable in coming forward, but you can use that also as a way to help the detectives work on these cases, and also encourage the community, as others have from the governing body, to ask the community to take care of each other and keep an eye out for things that are happening in your area, in your neighborhood. And if you suspect there's something that could be happening that might harm some of our community, then let us know about it. Let the police department know about it. Don't wait till after the fact. Try and get ahead of it. So look at things that might be happening in your neighborhood. I know it's hard to anticipate when some of these will happen, but I think most people in their neighborhoods know who belongs, who doesn't belong, because they see them there, or they don't see them there on a regular basis. Activity levels that might go up. So be aware of your surroundings and have a safe holiday, and we'll, along with you, try to remember those who won't be with you during these holiday seasons. One thing I wanted to bring up too is I had a real opportunity to address the Kansas Leadership Group, who came to Topeka and did a tour of a number of highlights here in the city of Topeka. They were out at MTAA, they were at Gage Park, they were at Brownview Board. They were taking in all that Topeka has to offer as the capital city of the state of Kansas. And I'm encouraged to continue to see that program grow and bring even more people into the idea that they have participant role in leadership in the state of Kansas, and encourage anybody who has not yet attended that Leadership Kansas, look for those chances where they have nominations so that you might be selected. And even if you're not selected, locally, get involved with some of the activities that a lot of our organizations have. They're always looking for new members. It helps you understand what's being done in the city of Topeka, not just in the city government, but by a lot of the nonprofit organizations that really support the needs in our community. So it was a privilege to be able to speak with them. There are the holidays coming up. I don't know, I think hasn't been the exact dates that I know of. Maybe December 6th, the 7th, I think is when we're going to have the parade, the Miracle on Kansas Avenue, and I think there'll be a tree lighting as well. If you haven't attended, it's a lot of fun to go to those parades and get the family out. Last year, they really outdid themselves in putting on an area with music and everything else. So if you have the opportunity to attend, prepare for it, dress warmly, and come on out to the parades. It'll be an enjoyable time. And while you're downtown, reminder that this coming Saturday is Small Business Saturday. I really encourage our community to look locally for a lot of the gifts and things that you will want to have for the holidays on a regular basis, but especially now. Sometimes we get the tendency to quickly go to an online service when really a lot of those products can be found here in Topeka as well. It's just that you have to take the time to look for them. And remember, those dollars spent here in Topeka help support the small business community and the people that they employ. So it's important to keep that in mind during your holiday purchases. Think of small businesses in Topeka, Small Business Saturday upcoming. And I want to thank all the people who work over the holidays, including our first responders. I know from experience, missed a lot of Thanksgivings and Christmases with my family initially because of work schedules, but it's all worth it. And you do get to celebrate at a time that's convenient for your family, even if it's not on that day like others do. But I want to thank all the workers, not just the first responders, but the hospital workers, everybody who continues to keep the utilities running, work in the grocery stores, and everywhere else that we expect them to be available for us. So they can't give that service without being recognized and thanked for their service. So again, thank you for everybody who's going to be doing that. And as usual, the weather will probably pop its head up, and then we'll have to have people out there working in maybe not the best conditions, but to keep it safe for us. And that's something I think that Dr. Perez might want to talk about, is the update on the road conditions and constructions and the cold weather updates.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. So as mentioned previously, our snow and ice crews are ready to go at a moment's notice. We actually start the process of getting our equipment, materials together in September, and so ready to go. Again, thankful for the teams that have the foresight and have the knowledge to actually be prepared for those types of events. As part of the training, we actually opened up some of the some of the training to non-traditional public works employees, and happy to say that our Director of Communications, Dan Garrett, actually won the non-public works employee driver course this year. So hats off to Dan.
Hey, Dan.
What he doesn't know is that he's on our reserve list in case somebody calls in. So that's his prize. Thank you. And along those lines, I also do want to mention for the cold weather, we are also working collaboratively with Topeka Rescue Mission on warming centers. Along with the other community stakeholders, City of Topeka definitely take a part in ensuring that our community is ready to serve the less fortunate or those who may need a warming center. So definitely worked with the teams to be ready for that as well. I will say that along for those warming centers, there are opportunities to volunteer as part of that, or participate through donations that can be donated to the Topeka Rescue Mission.
Yeah, you make a good point there. You know, there's an opportunity for all of us to do what little we can, or as much as we can, to help those who may not have the resources that we all enjoy. You think about this coming Thursday, the community Thanksgiving dinner. That's something that's gone on for years and years and years, and Topeka should be very proud of that effort, because that has continued to help make it possible for some people who maybe not have all the resources, but who also may have the resources but just don't want to have Thanksgiving dinner by themselves. You know, everybody is used to having family around. You go to this big community Thanksgiving dinner, and there are a lot of people around that you can talk to and visit with. And a lot of our families have decided that that's how they'll spend their Thanksgiving, is they'll volunteer serving there at the dinner. I'll be there to greet them and thank them for their work, and to talk to as many people as I can. So if you have that opportunity to either deliver meals or donate so that they can buy the resources that helps provide the meals, I would encourage you to do that. But it's a good thing that Topeka does that. And I'm speaking about the warming centers. That's the same thing that we had talked about earlier, is that while you may not be able to physically volunteer at a warming center, you can donate to those efforts by getting a hold of the Salvation Army or the Rescue Mission. And the city of Topeka provides a lot of coordination with other warming centers besides the Rescue Mission and the Salvation Army. There's 2 or 3 churches I know that have opened their doors as well. Last year we had about, I think, 5 or 6 different warming centers throughout the city. Those will probably be posted in a news release, if not from us, but from some of those organizations. So whatever you can do to help out, it'll be appreciated. And I hope that everybody will be careful while they're out there and enjoy the Thanksgiving that we have coming up this week. The one thing I want to bring up is our Citizen Government Review Committee. I spoke about it before. We have had great response from the community. Again, community input from people who want to get involved with that effort. It's a requirement by this governing body and by our charter ordinance to review our current form of government to see if it's working well, to see what changes may need to be made, or to look at what needs to be added to our operations and to our governing body tools that help us provide all the resources to the city. It's a wide variety of people, who have submitted applications. If you're still interested, keep in touch. I think the deadline, I'm not sure, December 3rd, so there's still some time. I would encourage you that if you are interested, don't just send in your name or fill out an application that you can find online. Include with it a resume, and then within that resume, talk about your understanding of the current form of government, because that's going to be extremely helpful if you're going to go in and try to review it. You have to have some good working knowledge of how we operate now as a city government. So I'm looking forward to that review. I think it's always good to have that. It's kind of like an evaluation of an employee. We're evaluating our city as how our government is functioning. So again, encourage you to look online for that application, and if you're interested, send it in before the deadline. The last thing I think that Dr. Perez might want to talk to, and that is our upcoming special budget meeting with the governing body.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. So the last several weeks, we've had some public listening sessions going back to really trying to get community input on the future of Topeka. During the FY 2025 budget process, we did have a deficit that we had to overcome. It was about $15 million. We did make some cuts, about $3.5 million, and then the majority of the shortfall was covered through one-time reserves. For FY 2025, we're balanced. However, trying to be a little more forward thinking, where we're looking into FY 2026 and FY 27, which we do project to have a $17 million deficit for FY 26 and then $21 million in FY 2027. So we're already looking at how we can mitigate those deficits. We are looking at potential service decreases to address that shortfall, but we're also considering a couple of sales tax initiatives. I know that taxes are definitely not popular, but given where we're at, we're not taking anything off the table as far as considerations as to how we can address those shortfalls. But again, the purpose of the listening sessions is really more to communicate with the public, get feedback from the public, and then ultimately share that information with the governing body as part of a budget retreat that we have scheduled for December 6th. So again, we're good for the coming operating year, but in 2026 and 2027, we're going to have some challenges and some difficult discussions and considerations that we'll have to look at to ensure we have a sustainable operating budget moving forward.
Okay, well, I think we've covered most everything. One thing that we didn't speak to, and we hear this all the time, fill the potholes, fix the roads, and then we hear about all the construction delays and rerouting. That has to happen for us to do that, to do all the work that needs to be done before the season is over. But I think that there's something new this year with regards to our asphalt that we're using. I mean, you might kind of mention it. So that encouraging to the citizens that we're getting every last working day that we can in before the weather turns bad.
Yes, sir. So typically asphalt plants close November, December timeframe. We do have a couple projects that we are going to be working with the asphalt plants to actually include additional additives to the asphalt that will allow us to lay in temperatures as low as 40 degrees. And so there's a couple of projects that we're working on to pilot that additive, if you will, so that way we can close up those projects and alleviate some of the work that's still going. So definitely something new that we're trying this year, Mayor.
Yeah, it's new technology, and we're always trying to find another way to get the job done better, quicker, and longer lasting, because Kansas, as we all know, the hot and the cold really wreaks havoc on everything that we try to do with the roads. But I wanted to let people know that we're still looking at different ways to extend that period that we can repair our streets. So I think that's the topics that we wanted to address initially, and we're sit for any questions that you might have.
We're in the holiday season now. I know Zoo Lights just started recently. We have Winter Wonderland coming up, I believe, tomorrow. Can you just kind of speak to some of the options for activities people have, here in Topeka during this kind of winter, Thanksgiving, Christmas season?
Oh, yeah. I'm glad you brought that up, Zoo Lights. That's a big event, and I plan to get there as soon as I can before it gets too cold to enjoy it. I know that they've expanded it even more than they had last year. It's such a friendly place to go to begin with, but it really puts you in the right state of mind, I guess, to celebrate the season and all the lights and everything that we'll see. But Topeka's good about having putting out in the newspaper, I've seen it, and on the news, a list of homes too that people will encourage people to drive by and take a look at the lights they've set up. Again, the parade, it's always a big event. The last year event from where I sat, which was in the parade, you could see the crowd 2 and 3 deep back from Kansas Avenue. I've never seen a crowd quite that big, so that's something that they could take advantage of. Free, so bring as many people as you want. But that, and there are recognized neighborhoods like Potwin. That's another area that people can go to. And I know that we're trying to encourage people to get out into the shopping mode too, like at West Ridge Mall. They've got it decorated for the season. If you get a chance to go through any of the public buildings, our Capitol and others, where they might be able to partake in those, I encourage people to when they can, and get out. And it's all about meeting people in the same state of mind of enjoying that opportunity to celebrate the holidays.
Mayor, City Manager, going back to the recent violence that we have seen in the city, is there a response as far as any strategies kind of going forward?
So I will say, again, our officers, they work around the clock to prevent as many things as possible. Unfortunately, we can't be everywhere, all at the same time. I do want to point out that while the year is not over, we are trending down as far as our homicides this year compared to last year. So I think we're somewhere around 19 or 20 now. I think last year we were around 36. So again, the year's not over, but at this point we are trending lower this year than we were last year. And again, I think it has a lot to do with just intelligence gathering, being more present as much as possible, and just the work of our TPD and other local law enforcement officers.
I might add that I know in the past, and I hope it will continue, we don't just look at the crime itself. We look at the environment that it occurred in, activities that led up to it, what will occur afterwards. Will there be some backlash or some other activities associated with that? But we have to understand that crime doesn't happen just because, I decided to do something. There's a cause for it, theft or the harming of other people. There's something that drives that activity. And we try to, and I say we as a city, try to come up with strategies and ideas about how you address it in a more holistic way. I know the efforts that we go through with the SAVE program, where if there's somebody affected by a crime, we try to contact that family and those most immediately affected, try to see if there's a way to intervene, to break that circle of continued violence for maybe retaliation or those kinds of things. Those kinds of efforts, I think, are important to support the efforts of the law enforcement agency. You still have to have that understanding of what led us to that, or led those parties involved to that point where they felt that that was necessary. And I think that's something that we really have tried to do a better job of, and hope to see even more of that in the future.
I know you've spoken to as far as resources that have been available for people and what that has kind of looked like. Do you believe that that's also maybe a cause as far as why we are trending lower this year?
I believe so. I think it's a good observation, Madison, because again, when people feel frustrated in what they need or want and don't have a place to turn to, that's what leads them to do things that are not in their best judgment. But if they have a resource that they can go to that can maybe make that change, I think that's what, for me anyway, I think is important for us to have available for the entire community, so that way they have another route to take other than some kind of criminal offense. So I think, yeah, those efforts have maybe helped us in that way. It's tough being in law enforcement. It's sometimes law enforcement gets credit for reducing crime, but they also get the blame for crime rises. But that's not just law enforcement's responsibility. It's a community responsibility. And I think the fact that we have more collaborations going on and deeper collaborations, I think shows that this community is committed to support its law enforcement effort and to support its community, so that if there are people who are just on that edge, who, if just given one more chance or one more resource, they could find an alternative way to solve their situation. So I do think it has been helpful.
You guys spoke to Public Works, being ready for some of the winter weather coming up. Are you, as far as drivers and certified people with CDLs, are you guys fully staffed for this winter, kind of going, looking ahead into January as well?
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you for actually bringing up Public Works. Our new Public Works director is actually supposed to start, I believe, beginning of December. So excited to bring Steve down from South Dakota. I don't think the weather's going to affect him that much when you're looking at the cold. So, and I will actually give a a plug for, we actually have an in-house CDL program. And so, finding CDL drivers is difficult and challenging sometimes. And so, hats off to our Human Resources Department, who actually had the foresight to bring on a CDL trainer. And so we actually train our own CDL drivers in-house, and actually looking for ways to expand that into the community. So yes, yes, we're ready. No, we don't have an issue with our CDL trainers. So thanks to our Human Resources team for that.
Bouncing off of what Gabe said a little bit, heading into this week, we are expecting maybe the potential for some much colder weather and the potential for maybe a little bit of snow coming in. What do you kind of want the public to know as far as this goes this week, as far as the roads, construction, and all that?
Have folks watching the weather, obviously watching the construction. Our teams are ready to respond if needed, ready to do proactive treatment if needed, if we see something coming towards us. And then again, we have inspections and things of that nature that watch the construction sites that are out there. And so, we'll be ready in case something comes our way.
Are there any concerns with the weather going into this week, maybe as far as like the road construction and everything?
No, there shouldn't be. I think we're good to go.
Yeah. Tony Trower now has one more driver, Dan, who he can call upon to fill in wherever is needed. But no, I think we're in good shape. That department does a really good job of getting everything prepared. They know who's going to be on duty. They know who they can call, who's off duty. They have all the resources stockpiled, as it were. We're in good shape.
Mayor, is there any updates on the hotel?
Yes, there are updates. I won't go into any detail. I'll leave that, if any, to the city manager. I can say that I'm pleased that there continues to be a growing number of interested parties in the hotel. We have really been pleased with the way the community has responded to the hotel staying open, and that's something the governing body made very clear, that as we go through this, that we kept it open and operational. Had good attendance, have had a lot of shout outs. We got one recently from John Cantrell, who was saying how great he and happy he was with the hotel, and how they accommodated some of the people that were coming to Topeka for some of the events, and got a lot of accolades from those businesses and organizations who have, I want to say, returned to the hotel because they see that it's still operating, and they see that the effort going into updating it and keeping it operational. And I think that helps us be more attractive to continued interest in potential buyers.
Yeah, just a few more details. We did have a request for proposals for brokerage services that closed mid-October. We do have some very good options as far as being able to award contract if we go down that route. The mayor alluded to a lot of interest or more interest from the community, and I'll just tell you that we actually do have some options for potential buyers, and so we're vetting those right now. And again, I think from the onset we talked about we want to make sure that we get the best deal for our city and for the hotel. But stay tuned.
This question is for both of you. I know you touched on it a little bit, Mayor, but what are your plans for Thanksgiving?
Oh, my plans are to sit and enjoy as much family as possible. I think head count was somewhere around 34, 35 people that we're expecting in our home. It's something we look forward to. The house is already set up for trying to squeeze everybody into every little nook and cranny. And I'm looking forward to having just a good time visiting with people at home and not worry about being on the road or trying to make an airline or anything like that. It's just more enjoyable for me anyway. When we do travel around the holidays, it's usually the day or two afterwards, after everybody else has gone back home, gone to work. But yeah, and I'm looking forward to it. This is always a good time of year for me, and I think for a lot of people. Once Thanksgiving comes around, it's just like next thing you know, it's the end of December, time flies so fast.
Are you in charge of the turkey?
No, I'm in charge of eating and the turkey and the brisket and the ham and anything I can get my hands on.
What about you?
I'll actually be traveling to Texas to go hang out with the families, our parents and kids, and we'll be responsible for the rolls. Yeah. So, but yeah, but the wife's already gotten on me, and we already have the lights up, and we're ready for the holiday season. But yeah, we'll be traveling for Thanksgiving, and we'll be hanging out for Christmas. So here, yeah.
Any traditions in Texas that we don't do in Kansas?
You can wear shorts in Texas right now. No, just turkey, ham, same thing.
Tamales, don't forget the tamales. We gotta have tamales this time of year,
Yeah.
around Christmas time.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
thank you.
All right, there are no further questions. We appreciate your attention and for coming this morning. Have a great holiday and be safe.